Yeah, thank you very much, Lady K. And I join you in welcoming all participants to today's edition. There, I also join you in expressing our excitement at the depth and potential value of today's presentation. On behalf of everybody, that is the technical team and the participants alike, I'd like to express our sincere appreciation to our guests. Well, I don't know whether it's the hen or the egg that comes first, but either way, they're both important. So our guest, Mr. Kara Diallo, AGOA Specialist, and the West Africa Trade and Investment Hub. So that's why I'm saying I don't know whether it's the West Africa Trade and Investment Hub before Mr. Diallo or Mr. Diallo before, but the two of them to us are welcome, and we appreciate the budding partnership that enables you to join our platform in facilitating access to the US market for the teeming micro, small, and medium enterprises across West Africa, hopefully across Africa, because it's not just West Africa Opportunities and Growth Act, it is Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. So hopefully, as we move along, people will also take value from this from other parts of Africa. So not to wrangle around, I'm just going to speak a little bit about what we have been doing here. I'll just try to share a screen. Okay, I hope we can all see it. So for this presentation, I'll talk a little bit about our Talking Trade series. And apologies to whoever is joining late, or maybe no apologies. We try to start early wherever you meet us. Please know, and I'm sure the anchor will be telling you this later, you can always go back to catch up on our various platforms. So Talking Trade with Femi Boyede is a series of webinar sessions hosted by that man, Femi Boyede, usually alongside a panel of trade experts to discuss all matters related to international trade. We understand that international trade, the international trade space is a battlefield raging with fierce competition for market share, and countries must arm their soldiers, that is the traders, with the best weapons in order to succeed in this economic environment. It is an interactive session. We try as much as possible to not just listen to the lecture. I know somebody, I'm not mentioning anybody, somebody described African or youth of a particular country as lazy. But I actually think that I not pejorative, but I think that there is an element of laziness even across businesses, among businesses across Africa. We depend so much on, and you will see this even when you attend physical conferences, people are always hurrying to grab the publications, especially the ones that are how to. So I think I shared a joke that if the African micro entrepreneur can actually achieve it, he will prefer to be spoon-fed all the way into the market. So that's the reason why we make it interactive. So whatever it is that is confusing you, you can ask. We have had more than a few, and we started this journey in June of 2021. In June, we discussed why trade matters. and the guest speaker was the president of the Nigerian National Association of Nigerian Traders. July, it was tips for successful engagement in international trade, and we had no other person than Titi Ojo, the acting executive secretary, Network of Practicing Non-Oil Exporters of Nigeria. August was strategizing to optimize trading with the AFCFTA. That is another how-to, what SMEs must do. And we had Mr. Olufemi Awoyemi, the founder and chairman of ProShare Nigeria. He's a member of the National Institute, by the way. September, we had scaling the hurdles in the export business and exporters case study. And this was to bring us all back down to earth. A practitioner came up on to share her experiences, and that helped us to also discuss in details the various challenges that exporters face to get into the international marketplace. October, trading with the USA, opportunities, regulations, and compliance imperatives. We had the president and the CEO of the US Africa Trade Council, Engineer Titus Olowo-Kere, who gave us so much insight that I almost started exporting to Atlanta the following day. But whatever speed I lost, I'm sure that after Mr. Diallo's presentation today, not just me, but all of us will have the opportunity and the impetus. Today's edition is very, very important. It is important because, like I said earlier on, people want to know. I personally believe from study, from research, from experience, that the missing element in all our development programs mostly across Africa, is market access. Market being the outlet for whatever development and promotion we're doing. So participants in this webinar will today live with the understanding of what AGOA is, why it was created, the products that are covered under it, and what to do to effectively take advantage of the opportunities offered through AGOA. AGOA is a specialized market. It is big. So if you are able to penetrate with one product, I believe one product being shipped to AGOA will probably necessitate the aggregation of an agglomeration of several SMEs in order to meet the demand. So that's why Mr. Diallo, having done this in different parts of West Africa, is so welcome today to handhold us until we begin to ship under the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. So, moderator, thank you very much. As I hand back over to you to bring on our special guest, our special speaker today, Mr. Diallo. Thanks so much, everybody, and I wish us fruitful deliberations. Please, even while Mr. Diallo is speaking, if you have anything bothering you, please put your question in the chat box. We will endeavor to look at it from time to time, and where necessary, I have actually asked on your behalf, I have sensitized Mr. Diallo, just in case time does not permit us to finish everything today. He has kindly agreed that we can have a follow-on session. So whatever it is, what will make us at Talking Trade happy is to be able to bring a testimonial of 3, 4, 5 people from 3, 4, 5 countries in West Africa who actually kickstarted exporting to America through AGOA because they attended today's session. I thank you all very much.
So we go to our guest speaker that has graciously accepted to do this for us. The work has been going on now for like 2 months, almost 3 months, right? The team is a lot of work that has gone into this. We want to thank AGOA for accepting to be part of this, which is going to be so wonderful for everyone participating today and for those that will watch later. So November edition is the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, opening African SMEs to a new world of business opportunities. Our speaker, as he introduced earlier, is Kara Diallo. With Kara Diallo in the house today, we have a different set of participants. We have many participants who are francophones. So I'll say, soyez les bienvenus. Merci beaucoup pour être là. My name is Femi, as you all know. So Mr. Kara Diallo is the African Growth and Opportunity Act AGOA Specialist for the USAID-funded West African Trade and Investment Hub. He's based in Dakar, Senegal, and provides technical assistance and training to export-ready businesses across the region on AGOA and U.S. import requirements. In addition to his work, Kara also assists U.S. companies in finding, vetting, and doing business with West African-based companies, thus providing critical market linkages between these two entities. He also collaborates with governments and private sector representatives on the development of national AGOA export strategies. Mr. Diallo's experience within the region and deep understanding of AGOA comes from his work for the former Trade Hub 2016 to 17, where he coordinated and supported the activities of the AGOA Trade Resource Centers, ATRCS, in West Africa. Mr. Diallo also previously served as trade advisor at the ATRC in Bamako, Mali, from 2010 to 2012, where he led all AGOA-related activities. Mr. Diallo is a citizen of Mali and holds a master's degree in agricultural sciences from the University of Bilda in Nigeria. So today we are all excited, we are happy to have with us Mr. Kara Diallo. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Lady K. Thanks for this great introduction. Let me try to share my screen first. Hope you can all see it.
Yes.
Great.
I can.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Femi. So it's a great pleasure to be part of this program and to talk about some of the opportunities offered by AGOA. During this presentation, we will talk about AGOA's objectives, benefits, as well as eligibility criteria. In addition to that, we will also mention the export to the US in terms of figures, as well as the opportunities available for African products. And we will conclude this presentation with the kind of support available at the USAID Trade Hub. So the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, is a US trade preference program originally signed into law in May 2000. This program is focused on the sub-Saharan African countries, as you can see it on the map here. The main objective of AGOA is to promote increased trade and investment between the US and sub-Saharan African countries. In 2015, AGOA was extended for a decade, so to 2025, in order to enhance eligible sub-Saharan African countries to access to the US market in order to stimulate economic growth and development. This act, AGOA, has some benefits. AGOA builds on the GSP to allow more than 6,500 tariff lines to enter the US market duty-free. These products include 1,800 products that are import sensitive in the US and not eligible under another trade preference program such as GSP. Among this type of products, we have, for example, the apparel and the textiles goods. We have, of course, some food products, electronic articles, footwear, etc. Now, there are some requirements before a good can receive a duty-free treatment in the US. Those requirements are very easy to meet. The first one is that the country of origin of the good must be AGOA eligible. I just mentioned that AGOA is focusing on the sub-Saharan African countries, and this year in 2021, there are 39 countries eligible for AGOA benefits. The second requirement is that the products for which you are asking a duty-free treatment must be eligible for AGOA. I just mentioned that there are about 6,500 tariff lines that qualify for AGOA. If you want to check if your good is among those, you can go on agoa.info website, where there is a database of all AGOA eligible products, and you will be able to check whether your good is AGOA eligible or not. When your good is AGOA eligible, this good must meet the requirements of the rules of origin. The objective behind the rules of origin is actually to make sure that goods that are requesting a duty-free treatment under AGOA have a local content of AGOA eligible countries. So in this case here, there are generally two situations. In the first situation, the raw material that you are using to produce your final good are sourced from an AGOA eligible country in sub-Saharan Africa. In this case, your goods are meeting the requirement of the AGOA rules of origin. In the second scenario, your company is importing raw material from a third country, meaning from a country that is not AGOA eligible. That is possible as soon as you are able to process substantially your raw material and then to justify on the final product a value addition of 35%. Once these two rules are met, your goods are meeting the AGOA rules of origin. And when now your goods are ready, you have processed, you packed your goods, it's time to export, you must ship your good to the US directly, which means actually your good must not enter in the commerce of a third country. And on the export documentation, US should be designated as the final destination of the goods. And finally, when your goods arrive at the US port of entry, the importer or its representative, meaning the customs broker, must claim AGOA duty-free treatment when filling the customs document, when filling the customs entry. So these are the general requirements for a good to receive the AGOA duty-free treatment. In addition to this general requirement, when we talk about garments and the textiles, there are, let's say, additional requirements, especially for countries that are eligible for AGOA. This requirement is that an AGOA eligible country must establish an AGOA textile visa arrangement between the country and the US government. The objective of that is to prevent illegal transshipment and the use of counterfeit documentation. And this visa arrangement will also establish effective enforcement and verification procedure. The objective behind this is to prevent illegal transshipment via AGOA eligible countries that can export to the US this kind of good duty free. And we know that textiles and the garment is a very sensitive industry in the US. So it's not all AGOA eligible countries that are eligible for the export of garment and textiles under AGOA. In this slide, you can see the countries that are eligible for AGOA benefit in 2021. So for this year, they are all in blue. And in this table, you can now see the list of countries that have established an AGOA textile visa arrangement with the US. So all these countries here in the table can export garment and the textiles to the US and get the duty-free treatment under AGOA. We will see in the export documentation requirement this same difference between garment, textiles, and the other type of products that we call the non-textiles goods. Of course, there are documents that are standard documents regardless of the sector. For example, the commercial invoice, the packing list, and the transportation document,
hold on,
the bill of lading or the way bill. These documents are consistent regardless of the sector, of the nature of the good. But the difference will start with the certificate of origin. When we take the textiles and the garments, these goods will use a specific and a special certificate of origin that is called the AGOA Textile Certificate of Origin. In addition to this certificate of origin, these goods are required to have an AGOA visa stamp for textiles. So because these two documents are very specific to textiles and the garment and very specific to AGOA, during the next two slides, we will see some models of these two documents so that we understand what we are talking about. For the non-textiles goods, this good can use the Gsp Certificate of Origin, also known as the Form A. There must be also the FDA prior notice requirement, especially for food, phytosanitary certificate for also good agricultural good generally. There may be other documents that could be necessary depending on the nature of the good. For example, import permit for some kind of raw agricultural product, HACCP certification requirement for some, let's say, food items such as juice and also seafood and so on. The additional document we are talking about for the garment and the textiles, the first one is the certificate of origin. The first part of this certificate looks like any other certificate in the difference of the box 4, where it is asked to provide the preference group. And this preference group nothing else than the 10 grouping of garment and the textiles under AGOA. We can see it here from group 1 up to group 9 and the group O here. So importer, exporter or producer must go through these groupings and select the one that is let's say used for their garment or for their textiles. Once that is done, other parts, other portions, other boxes can be filled based on the category of the group that have been selected. And another particularity of this AGOA Textile Certificate of Origin is that it must be filled by the producer of the good by the exporter. Voice, the packing list, the certificate of origin, these 3 documents can go to the customs and request for the AGOA textile visa stamp. This visa stamp looks like this. This is a model. It's a circular stamp, blue ink, with 5 required informations, such as a visa number, a grouping, the quantities, the signature, and the date of issuance. These are the 5 required information. This visa must appear or must apply in front of the commercial invoice. So it's on the commercial invoice that the visa will be affixed, and it must be signed by an authorized customs officer. Please remember that this visa stamp requirement is only for garment and textiles, not for other non-textiles goods such as food items. Now let's see here the leading export sectors under AGOA. We can see that there are several sectors that are benefiting today from the AGOA duty-free treatment. And something very encouraging that we are seeing these last 2 years is the fact that apparel and accessories has become the first export category under AGOA duty-free treatment. Before it was oil and the gas, and that sector is now at the 2nd position due mainly to the decrease in the prices of the oil and also in the decrease in the quantities of oil exported from sub-Saharan African countries. Apart from these 2 sectors, we can see also transportation equipment, we can see primary metals, chemicals, food, agricultural products, leather product, etc. So several sectors. Also, in terms of leading exporters under this trade preference program, we have this year South Africa leading at the moment, and we know that South Africa has a very diversified export products such as transportation equipment, primary metal, but also agricultural goods such as fruit and nuts. At the 2nd position, we have Nigeria exporting mainly oil related products, but something encouraging is that we are seeing an increase in the agricultural product export from Nigeria. From year to year, there are substantial increase. We can also see that Kenya is exporting a lot, mainly garments, like Ethiopia, and Angola is exporting mainly oil like Nigeria. And you can see other countries also exporting to the US under AGOA. Since apparel and textile is the leading sector, I thought it will be good to give you an idea about the value of export from sub-Saharan Africa to the US. And you can see that in 2019, sub-Saharan Africa exported about 1.4 billion US dollar of garment and textiles to the US. We have seen some decrease in 2020, mainly due to the COVID-19 situation, but still it was more than 1.2 billion US dollar. So these exports have benefited from AGOA, since we can see that imports under AGOA is not much different than the total import of the US from sub-Saharan Africa, which means actually most of the apparel and the textiles exported from Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, actually enter in the US duty-free under AGOA. And we can also see that there is one category in particular that has been used to export this good under AGOA. It's a category 5E that we also call the third country fabric rules. This rule is saying that a company based in a country in sub-Saharan Africa can import fabrics from anywhere in the world. You import it in sub-Saharan Africa, you cut it, you sew it, and you export it to the US, and you still qualify, the goods still qualify for duty-free treatment under AGOA. That's the reason why we can see that most of the garment exported from sub-Saharan Africa under AGOA has used this category 5 grouping. Now, talking about West Africa, since we have mainly participants from West Africa in today's webinar, this is just to give you an idea about the type of goods, the kind of goods that are exported from the West Africa to the US using AGOA duty-free treatment from 2015 up to 2019. We can see certainly an increase in many type of category of goods. What we know already is also confirmed by all the figures. Petroleum and oil is the first sector of export. We can see that it's more than 3.5 billion in 2019. But we also have other other categories such as prepared fish. Here we are mainly talking about canned tuna for more than 52 million in 2019, which represent an increase of 54% between 2018 to 2019. Another interesting sector is certainly apparel. We are seeing an increase in the apparel export from year to year. And in 2019, it was about 17 million, which represent a 25% increment from 2018. Another interesting sector is the dried fruit. We are seeing more dried fruit going to the US, especially dried mango, dried pineapple, with a 83% of increase between 2018 and 2019. And we can also talk about vegetables, including yam that have been exported for a value of about 11 million in 2019. It's also a product that is increasing. So all these products are being exported to the US and are entering in the US duty-free under AGOA. There are certainly many other products that are being exported to the US, which are exported in a greater value than these, but some of those products are using the GSP to enter in the US duty-free, and most of those goods are also at 0% customs duty in the US. Here I'm talking about cocoa beans, for example. We also have cashew kernel in that situation. In terms of opportunities, I'm sure you now understand that there are many opportunities, especially in the garment and the textile sector that we just mentioned. There are also opportunities in the goods we just showed in the previous slide. And in addition to all those goods, you can also see in this slide these kind of products that are imported by the US every year. So in the second column, we will see the US import of those products in 2020, and also the main suppliers of the US market in 2020. If we talk about the cocoa beans, we will see that the US import in 2020 was about 995 million, and the US is the third largest importer of this good, with main suppliers being Cote d'Ivoire, Ecuador, and Ghana. So it is very exciting to see that there are two sub-Saharan African countries, West African countries, being in the top 3 supplier of the US for this product. When this product is processed, we will have cocoa butter, for example. US import was 561 million in 2020, and the US is the second largest importer of this good. And we can see that main suppliers were Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brazil. So here we can see that there is no sub-Saharan African country among the top 3 supplier of the US market for cocoa bean, which means actually there are opportunities in the processing of cocoa butter on the continent and to export it to the US. Same thing for the cashew kernel. We are not talking about raw cashew nut here, but cashew kernel. US market represent about $1 billion US, and the US is the largest importer with more than 27% of the world share. We can also see that main suppliers were Vietnam, Brazil, Indonesia, while we know that West Africa or Africa in general represent the first supplier of raw cashew nut. Here too, there are huge opportunities to process raw cashew nut in Africa and export it to the US, US being the largest importer. Same thing for fertilizer. We know that there are countries in West Africa or in Africa that are producing oil and gas, and based on that, they can also produce this type of fertilizer, where that US is the third largest importer with more than 1 billion again. And we can see that main suppliers are Qatar, Canada, Russia, meaning oil and the gas also producer. Same thing for sesame seed, sesame oil. These are just some example. There are many other products for which US is a good market. For example, furniture companies that are producing furniture from wood. US market represent 23 billion in 2020, companies in the makeup and the beauty product, so cosmetics, those kind of products represented about 4.4 billion in 2020. Coffee was about 5.5 billion, and the footwear made with leather was about 8 billion. So we can see that there are many opportunities for African products in the US market. Finally, I will conclude this presentation as mentioned by the trade hubs AGOA support. You must know that the West Africa Trade and Investment Hub project, also called the Trade Hub, is a 5-year program that started in 2019 with the aim to improve the private sector competitiveness in West Africa through market-based approaches. And this trade hub is an integral part of the Prosper Africa initiative and partners with the US and West African private sector firms to generate new private investment in key sectors, to create jobs, and also to increase trade between the US and West Africa, including through the utilization of the African Growth and Opportunity Act. So it's based on that the Trade Hub do provide support under AGOA. Our support is structured under 3 main pillars. The first one is really to assist the West African government in implementing the AGOA textile visa that I mentioned during this presentation. We do trainings for customs officers. We assist the government in implementing the visa system. Under the second pillar, we provide information and also create awareness about AGOA, but not only AGOA, but also other US import requirements. We do that via the resources we make available on the Trade Hub website, such as the AGOA ABC guide, presentations, video. We also organize usually webinars and workshops with various stakeholders, including private sector institutions. Finally, the third pillar of our assistance is really to promote and assist West African businesses in exporting to the US market. We do that mainly with the export-ready companies. First of all, it's about providing the AGOA services on a one-on-one basis. This includes assist company to understand if its products are AGOA eligible, provide advice on the export documentation required on the US side, and what are the export procedure. We also provide technical assistance to businesses based on their specific needs. This could include the FDA compliance issues. We have also market linkage. We have packaging and the labeling requirement, logistics, etc. For this technical assistance, businesses may have to apply by submitting an expression of interest, and all information relating to this TA program is available on the Trade Hub website, which is westafricatradehub.com. You can go on the AGOA menu and you will find more information on AGOA, but also more information on the activities the Trade Hub is currently conducting in this area. I would like to stop here and see if there are any questions. Thank you very much for your listening.
Wow.
Honestly, it is wow. And okay, for just to be modest, I say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so very much.
Welcome.
This has been extremely wonderful, and it's like you just broke down all the small questions we have that actually becomes the very impediments that we have to trading, and having someone that understands it from the West African perspective is really encouraging. Thank you so much for the work you have put into this. We know that what we have heard from you today is just a little tip of the iceberg. We'll be looking forward to more, as Femi Boyede said earlier. I'll yield the floor to Femi Boyede to thank you before we go into the question and answer session. This has been wonderful. Thank you very much. And you can unmute yourself, Karen.
Thank you very much, Lady K. And I'm sure that we are just echoing the hearts of our numerous participants. Monsieur Diallo, vous avez très bien fait et on vous remercie infiniment. Avec profondeur, you have really done justice. Except that me and my team, we are Oliver Twist. We always want more. And in any case, we are just reverberating what the world already says. The reward for good work is more work. So we are going to be coming back to you on behalf of participants for more work. So much has gone into this, and I'm glad that we also have representatives of trade support institutions. At least I can see 2 or 3 from the Nigerian end. I see on here, including Nexim and the NEPC. Something that kept echoing in my mind is that the West Africa Trade and Investment Hub only supports export-ready companies. This is not an indictment. I'm just echoing the orientation of Wati. This therefore throws a huge challenge to the respective countries' trade support institutions. Like a Yoruba proverb will say that somebody who wants to be assisted to put what do you call it, a load of firewood on his head, that person bends down first and they see him trying to lift it, then another person comes. So the in-country representatives of the trade support institutions will then need to do the preliminary work of making their exporters export ready. I'm glad I see Titi Ojo here, the executive secretary of the network of practicing non-oil exporters of Nigeria. I know a few people registered from Ghana Export Promotion Board. I know because I relate with them. And I'm sure that so many people have registered from the Francophone part. So I know. I always cite APEXI, that's the Agence pour la promotion des exportations de la Côte d'Ivoire. I cite them as a good example of a private sector driven external trade development and promotion agency. So just my modest observation and a challenge to trade support institutions. The second challenge from what you have presented, sir, is the fact that Africa, especially in products like cocoa, like sesame seed, like cashew nut that you have talked about, they are predominantly originating from West Africa. But West Africa does not even feature, not in the top 3 at all, as main suppliers of the processed versions of these commodities to the US market. This for me is a challenge. This for me, I mean, like, I would just be like a loud sounding cymbal, because I'm echoing what the whole world is singing on a daily basis. Ambassador President Akiwumi Adesina is doing fantastic at the Africa Development Bank. And he has been singing the same tune. Africa needs to add value to its commodities before, so that they can capture a greater chunk of export money. Will this be a challenge to the private sector? Would it be a challenge to even the Africa Development Bank and other financial development institutions across the continent to look at value chain? I know that NEXIM, Nigeria Export-Import Bank, for example, is working on a value chain approach to export financing. Will this be something that they need to look at? Just trying to bring up a few of the things that you have said. I threw in a question, I'm sure the anchor will bring it up later, that might be of immediate interest to our participants and listeners today. Fantastic window. The structure is there, the concept is there, the legal backing is there for West Africa goods to enter America duty-free. So that provision is there. How do these exporters here today from the various countries of West Africa, is it something they can come to West Africa Trade and Investment Hub for? That, okay, I know that there's a window for my goods to get there. Who receives my goods? We have somebody who attended our program for the first time last month. He has excess capacity, more than 67% excess capacity above what he can produce. He has a plant that produces toothpaste and petroleum jelly. And just like I told you, Mr. Diallo, before we started admitting people, I am aware that about 70% of what is recorded as Nigeria's export to AGOA is actually petroleum product. Our focus in championing economic diversification should move away from oil. So if you have somebody who has capacity, for example, in his factory for petroleum jelly, for toothpaste, which are daily needs, would West Africa Trade and Investment Hub, sorry, I'm not asking the questions, I'm just throwing up specific issues that you may address today, or we will, since we are almost sure that you gave us your word that you will be ready to listen to us again. So again, thank you very much. And contributions and questions and comments, I'm sure that there are people who have much more practical and direct impact to them than me. I just tried to talk through your presentation. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Boyede. Kara, you want to say something to what he has said?
Yes, why not, Lady K? Thank you very much, Mr. Boyede. I think this is a great recap of the presentation. You have captured well all the issues that this presentation tried to brought up. Regarding your last comment on the trade hub and the assistance that we provide to export-ready businesses. Why we are saying export-ready businesses? Of course, for the webinars, workshops, and the training that we are organizing as a trade hub, all businesses are welcome to participate. And we do this kind of webinars or let's say trainings on monthly basis on different subjects. So all companies, whether export ready or not, are welcome to participate and to learn. But when it comes to specific technical assistance, because we know that US market is a challenging market, its companies need to be very competitive. And this is something we are seeing every day since we have a market linkage program ongoing at the moment. We have a staff based in the US, mainly in New Jersey, who is assisting in identifying US importers, US buyers for main West Africa goods. And we do the matching, the linking with export-ready businesses. And this is where the word export-ready businesses are very important because we want to preserve the image of West Africa as capable supplier of the US market. We want to make sure that businesses we are introducing to US importers are producing in the required quantities, have quality goods with the quality certifications required by these buyers, and are able also to offer competitive prices, which is also one of the requirements in order to penetrate the US market. So it's for all these reasons that it's difficult to, let's say, take into account the non-export ready companies. We have a form, a design form that businesses can fill. It's available on our website, and it's based on the information you provide in this form and also the type of assistance you are requesting, that we will evaluate you based on several criteria we have internally to determine whether the company is export ready or not, whether the company can be presented to a US company or not. So this is how we work, mainly for the market linkage for companies that would like to be introduced to US companies. On the other end, we work on, let's say, the demand basis, which means we know that there are the category of goods that are mainly available in West Africa. So we go to identify US companies that import those kind of goods. We talk to them, we present AGOA and its benefits, and we present the potential of West Africa for those type of goods. And then we can introduce these US companies to West African companies that will fill the requirement they have set to be a supplier. So we work on both sides, try to assist West African companies to identify a US buyer, but also identify US buyers and connect them back to West African businesses. This is what I want to brought up as, let's say, a general answer to what Mr. Femi just mentioned.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Elizabeth.
It's good to be back here today. Thank you, Mr. Boyede. Thank you, Lady K. And thank you, Mr. Diallo, for this explicit message and presentation you've done. I'm familiar to a level with AGOA, but I'm also experienced, and I would like to point out why we don't really have the support for the foodstuff side. I know the people with Textile do get waiver, but I find out that the clearing agent on the other side, the brokers, they are not conversant with AGOA. Some say they have never heard the word AGOA before. So as much as we need to sensitize on this side, we still need to sensitize on the other side, so that at the end of the day, when we have done all the needful on this side, sending to the diasporas on the other side, we could get the value that you are trying to place us on. And we're so glad to know that you do help to navigate with the company that can offtake from us. That's a good one. I'm glad to hear that. But more from all my experiences, the brokers, the clearing agents on the other side are not aware, they're not knowledgeable about AGOA. So what are you doing on the other side to make sure that the recipients, clearing agents are also knowledgeable in what you are trying to do for us so that we can actually benefit from this so much compassionate grant that you are giving to Africa? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I think what you have just said is very true. We are noticing that, we are seeing that every day, every year. It's not just customs broker, but there are many companies in the US that are not aware about the existence of AGOA, about AGOA's benefit, and so on. That's the reason why all the importers, all the US businesses we are talking to, the first thing we do, we ask, do you know about AGOA? Mainly it's no, what it is. So we have to explain, we have to share content with them, especially that's the reason why also we have designed a short video, about 1 minute video. It's on our website, just to explain very quickly what AGOA is and what are the benefits from AGOA for all the businesses. So what you are saying is very true. We are addressing them via all the interaction we have with them, and also we have produced a video for them, and the video is now shared on all the, let's say, platform that are promoting trade between US and Africa in the US side, mainly on the Prosper Africa website. This video also is published there, so available to everyone. So this is part of how we engage with the US private sector regarding AGOA. We are a little bit limited on that side. We cannot do much than like what we are doing in West Africa because our program is designed specifically for West Africa, and our zone of influence is West Africa. But we try as much as possible to educate US businesses we talk to, and also the US business community we are dealing with.
Thank you very much. And we have a question from Doris Obodo. Doris Obodo, you want to ask your question, or you prefer we read it out for you? Doris, are you there? Okay. So the question from Doris Obodo is, she says, thank you, Mr. Diallo, for your insightful presentation. Please, if SMEs in the textile and apparel sector in Nigeria, for example, import fabrics from outside AGOA countries and make garments with the said fabrics, will it constitute 35% input from the said SMEs?
Okay, that is a very good question. Great question. The rules of origin for the garment and the textiles are different than those for the general goods. So the 35% value addition requirement is not let's say relevant for garment and the textile sectors. So in case you import fabric from a third country anywhere in the world and you bring it in Nigeria, for example, you make your garment from this fabric. In this case, the rules of origin is on the category 5 that we mentioned during the presentation. And your good will still qualify from AGOA duty-free treatment using the category 5 of textiles and garment, and you don't have to go about the justification of the 35% value addition.
Thank you very much. I see, and as we go along, thank you for those of you that are putting your information on the chat. This is part of what we do. It's our opportunity for you to network. Please go ahead, continue to keep them coming. We can see so many of you. And I see a question, and then the questions. Raise up your hand or write in the chat as well. We will take the questions as they come along. And I see the first one is actually from Export Digest. I'm not sure if this was treated earlier.
Yes, that's I summarized it earlier when I asked if it was possible to. I think Mr. Diallo very clearly responded. That's when he mentioned that there is somebody who is actually there to create and match make companies who fulfill the criteria. What I find very interesting and that will be very useful to our participants today is the form for export readiness assessment. In actual fact, as we were talking, I was already thinking I might be reaching out to the MPNEN, Nigerian Network of Practicing Exporters, and possibly some other potential collaborating persons and institutions. So now using the form that Mr. Diallo talked about to see whether we can arrange. This is just a rough thought for now. It will crystallize, but we might have to do specific export readiness sessions to let people understand and ask questions, no matter how stupid those questions, because it is in answering the stupid, uninformed questions that you actually come up with the qualities, the arsenal that I talked about. I'm an Arsenal fan, so I like to use the word arsenal. So the arsenal that we will equip the exporters with to go and fight the economic battle out there. We might need to do that as ASAP. So thank you again, Mr. Diallo. And I'm sure that there are people out there who still want to ask questions.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Boyede. At this moment, I don't have any more questions. I think the people are actually satisfied, and I don't see any hand raised up, and I don't see any questions in the chat group.
Fine.
Does anyone still have any question before we move on from the question and answer session? Or if you have a comment, if you want to add to what has been said, you may equally have. Okay, I see a question from Miriam Godwin. I will read it out in a moment. So if you have something you can add to what we have shared, because like I said, it's always an interactive session. We give information. Okay, Elizabeth Nwako, actually I thought it was from the previous time. Thank you.
No.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, thank you once again for the platform. And Mr. Diallo, I would like to plead with you, because I know in the previous year you've done training for SMEs on information like this, and to put us together so that we can really have adequate information. But at the same time, is it also possible the clearing agents or whosoever you have worked with or you have trained on the other side, can we have their numbers so we could talk to them one-on-one and see the ones that are already aware of AGOA that we can use? And also we noticed that the port at New York and the port at Georgia or Texas, they operate differently. The rules are different. Is there any way you can explain to us why these rules are different? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Of course, we worked previously with two customs brokers and two to three customs brokers, and they are all aware about AGOA and how to take advantage of. In addition to that, what we can do and what we are doing is when you have your own customs broker and you think that the person is not comfortable or do not know about AGOA, please link us to the person and we will be able to talk to the person and explain how to claim AGOA duty-free treatment for your goods. Because we know that many people are comfortable with their own customs broker based on a long-term relationship they had. So we don't want to break those type of relation, and we are able to advise and discuss with your own customs broker and explain him or her everything that is needed in order to get a duty-free treatment for you. That is the question on the customs broker. I think I missed the second one. Lady K, what was the second question?
Training for SMEs. Training for SMEs.
Training, I think I already mentioned that we are doing training for SMEs. We do it, we do in-person training with mainly Export Promotion Council, private sector organizations such as Chamber of Commerce's and AmChams. And also we do provide webinars, usually for all companies, regardless they are export ready or not. And then those are open. Usually information are posted on the Trade Hub website and all Trade Hub social media networks, such as our Facebook page and the Twitter, and also on LinkedIn.
Great.
Thank you very much. So, Miriam Godwin, you want to ask your question yourself, or you prefer I read it out? Miriam, if you are there, one moment. Okay, so Miriam is asking a very interesting question that everyone will be interested in. She says, what are the requirements a starter needs before he or she can export under AGOA? And what is the minimum amount in Naira a starter can use to start?
Mr. Diallo, do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
interesting to everybody.
This is a tough question, and then this question can let's say we can discuss this question for a whole session. You know, because it's related to what Mr. Boyede was mentioning now, the export readiness. What I can tell you is that there is no minimum amount that is required for a company to export. So which means actually you can export any quantity that for which you have a market. We know there are some companies that are exporting in containers, but we also know that there are some companies exporting in boxes using the international mailing companies that are distributing goods in the US. So the quantity really there is no requirement about the quantity. There is no requirement about the amount before you can start exporting. It's all about readiness. Are you ready to export? Because before you export, you must try to understand the regulations for the good you want to export to the US. There are entry requirements, and those entry requirements don't have anything to do with AGOA. AGOA will be important when the good has been accepted in the US. It's where AGOA will provide a duty-free treatment. But before AGOA, there are other agencies that are regulating goods, that are checking goods, that are making sure that goods meet US requirements. For example, someone that is exporting food products must know that before you ship food product, your company must be registered with US FDA. If you are not registered, if your good, your packaging or your labeling is not meeting the FDA requirement, it is possible that your good will be denied to enter in the US when it arrives at the US port of entry. So in short, I will say, make sure you understand, you know all the regulations regarding or requirement regarding your good to enter in the US. Once you know that, you will be able to do whatever is needed. If it is an administrative requirement such as registration, or if it is about the quality of the good, or if there is a HACCP requirement, for example, like for juice and meat and seafood. So once your good are complying with those requirements, you can now start to export. And no matter the quantity, it all depends if you are able to satisfy the need of your client. Some clients will, let's say, buy retail good from you. In this case, e-commerce can be a good option. And then you can ship with the international mailing companies. If you have capacity also, you can ship within container. In this case, you will have to target, let's say, importers and main distributors, and then you will be able to do container shipment. So I hope that I have tried to answer to your question.
Okay, thank you so very much. I have, okay, there's this one, it's like a comment from Titi Ojo. Titi Ojo, you want to ask him the question directly?
Hi, good evening. So sorry, I'm not sure I can put on my video. Let's see, but it's a bit dark in here. Okay, so just let me just show you my head.
Happy to see you
see your head.
I can see Femi Boyede blushing, just seeing you.
I'm so happy to be part of this. Mr. Diallo, your session was awesome. Yeah. There's no other word. Well put. It was simple. It was straightforward. It was well constructed. No beating about the bush. You went straight to it. And I really appreciate that. I know in the course of the conversations, you've also mentioned that the AGOA does their trainings for SMEs. There have been trainings you've been doing through chambers of commerce and some private sector organization. And I'm the acting executive secretary for the Network of Practicing Non-Oil Exporters of Nigeria. We were 1 year this year, so it's still fresh, but we want to empower more exporters to come into this space, and that's very important. Many people are coming in every day. SMEs are getting more interested with the AFCFT as well. Many people are getting more interested every day, and not all these SMEs you're talking about belong to a chamber of commerce, actually. So the network of practicing non-oil exporters is more like that umbrella for all these organizations. That's actually how we're set up. And then, of course, new exporters coming into the field can always join the network. As the name implies, is a network, really. And it's an aggregation of all exporters, be it that you're in the Chamber of Commerce or in the Manufacturers Association. So for me, I'm pitching this to you because I think this SME training should be brought to implement to the network. And I really wanted to give us a go ahead on this. Give us a nod, a positive, so that we can look forward to it. I mean, I will let you go until you say something about this. It might be what we're going to start with next year, but this is exciting. Many Nigerians still are wondering, this AGOA, how does it really work? We still have issues with AGOA, really. And hearing what you've said today, there's still so much opportunities that we need to leverage. And our members would like to have a session like that. I would like to have a session like that with you. Mr. Boyede had mentioned even before I asked this question, because I heard that he had made that comment. So what chances do we have? And I really want you to give us on this one. We could fix a training for next year, early next year, February perhaps.
Yes.
For members of the network.
Yes, that is possible, Madam Titi Ojo. That is possible. We can do a session with the members of your network and any other companies that are interested from Nigeria to join in that program. February or January is possible. It's just about, we can take 1 hour or 1 hour and a half to have a presentation based on your needs, based on the need of your members. We can go in deep, not only for AGOA, but on other subjects in terms of based on the nature of the good that your member want to trade, want to export. If it's textiles, we will focus more on textiles. If it is food, we can focus more on food, so that we can mention other requirements for goods to enter that are different than AGOA. So feel free to let's say give your contact to Lady K or to Mr. Femi, and then they will do the introduction via email, and then we can continue the discussion.
I'm sure Mr. Boyede will do that gladly. He has all my contact.
Mr. Diallo, well, now that Titi is here, I might also let you know that I'm the secretary of the board of trustees for the network of practicing non-oil exporters of Nigeria. So it's what do they call it? 6.5 dozen, Titi and I. So we'll definitely take this. And Titi, please let's talk it tomorrow during the
Okay, thank you so very much. We'll be looking forward to that, and for sure, Titi, you know we're going to support that program. And okay, normally we finish this at 1:30, so I crave the indulgence of everyone to just add 15 minutes. For sure, we will shut down either before then or on the dot of 1:45. I have Kemi Jeje. She has a question. Kemi Jeje, you want to ask your question? Please go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody.
Your camera is off.
Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't dress well. Okay, let me put it on.
No problem. No matter who.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
And thank you for this presentation. Thank you so much. For me, I mean, it's giving me enlightenment on export, because I don't know anything about it. So I really appreciate it. And thank you, Auntie Kemi. Yes, I want to ask, how can you get buyer? Are they going to help us to get buyers, or are we going to sort for the buyers ourselves? And what products that, you know, when you invest, that you know you are not going to get lost, or you know, have
your fingers burnt.
Yes, so that is my question.
Very good question. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you.
There are several ways to look for buyer or to find buyer in the US market. There are first of all referrals. So maybe in this session, there is a company that is exporting to the US, and you are in the same sector. So you can get the name of some US buyers based on that, and they can refer your company to those US buyers. So this is one way. Another way is through the participation to trade shows in the US. There are many trade shows in the US for almost all the sectors, all type of goods you have a specific trade show in the US. And there are many buyers, distributors, and also service providers in the same industry who will meet in 2 days, within 2 days, within 3 days to exhibit, to do business, and also to do conferences to learn in their own sector. So trade shows is another way to find buyers. Besides that, there are also industry associations. In the US, for all the sectors, you have an industry association, and those are membership associations. Even though you are not in the US, but you are interested in that sector, you know that the US is your main market or your target market, and you want to do business with those people, you can join this kind of association and have access to all their membership. Or if you are not member, in their website, you can have access in the name of the companies that are in that industry. That is another way to look for buyers. Another way, again, is through, let's say, subscription, importing in that sector for that same product. I don't want to do publicity, but there are, for example, Penjiva, there are Tridge, there are others. So there are several ways to look for buyers or to get buyers in the US. For people who are starting, you can also look at the possibilities of hiring, let's say, brokers, commercial agents who are well connected within the industry, who can also assist you based on commission basis to find a buyer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I think this is going to be our last question now before we take some comments. Just one moment for the last question. And meanwhile, as usual, please keep the names, the addresses, the phone numbers, keep them coming. This is your opportunity to network. So the last question for now, again, is from Miriam Godwin. Does AGOA have a site or platform where exporters register under? Then the second question from Miriam again is, what's the payment term? And how does a starter get a genuine foreign buyer?
He just answered that.
That one has just been answered. And Miriam also said, how do we get the contact of the agents? So those are the questions. Did you get all of them?
Yes, for the website, you can visit agoa.info. On agoa.info, you will be able to have more information on what AGOA is, the list of products, all goods that are eligible, rules of origin that I mentioned, and also there is a business connector that is on that website, and you can register if you want to register for business connection on that website. I think it's free of charge. That platform, if you want to subscribe, it's free of charge. So as Femi mentioned, I think I have responded to the other question, but if it was not clear, please let me know so that I can elaborate more on that.
Thank you so very much, Kara. We are rounding up now. It has been very interactive and information session. Expecting that maybe some of them would want to ask questions in French, but it's obvious that everybody is, we are all bilingual. Merci beaucoup. À votre tour, Monsieur Femi Boyede.
Oui, Madame, je vous remercie. Et
merci.
On behalf of all of us today, now I'm actually bringing Kara to my side so that both of us and the participants can collectively thank the technical team, you wonderful people out there who have been ensuring that we feed my sheep every month. Lady K, Dr. Toyin, by the way, is not a PhD. She is a medical doctor who has decided to invest in the progress of enterprising people. And you won't believe how much energy she brings to the table. And Sheyi continue to be a great ambassador for Nigerian youth. Hopefully it will become global youth very soon. Benga, thank you very much. Lady K, she looks like a girl, but she was actually the one harnessing and harmonizing all Nigerians in the Greater Toronto area. She's the immediate past president of Nigeria-Canada Association. And so you must understand that we are blessed to have this team put this program together. Thank you all very much. And like we said, everything is a work in progress. I would have wanted to thank Monsieur Diallo with finality, but I can't thank you with finality because there's just so much that you still have to offer us. So please, just that you have it at the back of your mind, that we appreciate you so much that we want more of you and we will come back calling. So thank you very much. And please also extend our thanks to the West Africa Trade and Investment Hub. We look forward to continued robust engagement between our two organizations. And so on that note, I want to thank you all and to look forward to having you. Yay, I see a name that I actually saw at the onset, Mrs. Omolara Akonji, Dr. Mrs. Omolara Akonji, former Director Trade and Exchange of Central Bank of Nigeria. I needed to acknowledge that you are here. She's also a member of the Board of Trustees of Network of Practicing Non-Oil Exporters of Nigeria. Uju Hassan Baba,
thank you.
Immediate past Executive Secretary of Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, and just so many wonderful erudite personalities out there. Thank you all very much. See you next month.
Thank you.